Ferrari Berlinetta Boxer, 12 cylinders flat, engine mid-mounted. Ferrari's revolution roared. What does it take to convince a legend to abandon his principles? For Enzo Ferrari, a man who had built an empire on front-engined grand tourers, the answer came in the form of relentless pressure from his engineers and the undeniable success of competitors who had already embraced the mid-engine revolution. The Ferrari Berlinetta Boxer, unveiled to the world at the 1971 Turin Motor Show and entering production in 1973, represented nothing less than a fundamental transformation in Ferrari's philosophy. This was the company's first series production, 12-cylinder road car with the engine mounted behind the driver, a configuration Enzo himself had resisted for years, believing it would prove too challenging for his customers to handle. Built in Maranello, Italy between 1973 and 1984, the Berlinetta Boxer series comprised three distinct variants: the 365 GT4 BB, the BB512, and the BB512i. Across these three iterations, Ferrari produced approximately 2,323 units, each one representing a bridge between the company's traditional past and its mid-engine future. The car's significance extends far beyond its production numbers. With its dramatic wedge-shaped Pininfarina design penned by Leonardo Fioravanti, its flat 12 engine derived from Ferrari's Formula One technology, and its exotic performance capabilities, the BB established the template for every Ferrari flagship that would follow. Today, these cars command extraordinary prices, with average values exceeding $800,000 and the rarest examples approaching $1.4 million. The Berlinetta Boxer didn't just compete with rivals like the Lamborghini Countach for supercar supremacy during the 1970s and early 1980s, it fundamentally redefined what Ferrari could be. This is the story of how tradition met innovation and how a reluctant revolution became an enduring legend. By the late 1960s, Ferrari faced an uncomfortable reality. The automotive world was leaving them behind. Lamborghini had shocked the industry in 1966 with the Miura, the first true mid-engine supercar, while Ferrari's flagship V12 models stubbornly maintained their front-engine layouts. The irony was impossible to ignore. Ferrari had pioneered mid-engine designs in racing throughout the 1960s and had even applied the concept to their smaller Dino road cars starting in 1967, yet Enzo Ferrari remained adamant that a mid-engine 12-cylinder road car would be too dangerous for wealthy clients to control. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source: Ferrari's Formula One program. In 1970, engineer Mauro Forghieri designed the 312B race car with a revolutionary flat 12 engine, a configuration that placed all 12 cylinders horizontally opposed in a low, wide layout. The 312B's immediate racing success demonstrated not only the engine's performance potential, but also its ideal packaging advantages for a mid-mounted configuration. The flat 12's low center of gravity and compact length made it perfect for positioning behind a driver while maintaining proper weight distribution. Following the 1969 introduction of the 365 GTB4 Daytona, Ferrari's last front-engine flagship, engineers led by Dr. Angelo Belle began secretly developing its mid-engine successor. Years of persistent lobbying finally convinced Enzo to approve the project. Dr. Giuliano De Angelis oversaw development of the Tipo F102A engine, a road-going adaptation of the racing flat 12, while Leonardo Fioravanti at Pininfarina crafted a stunning body inspired by the 1968 P6 concept car. The result appeared at Turin in 1971, the 365 GT4 BB prototype, featuring a 4.4-litre flat 12, producing 380 horsepower. Chapter 3: Born into Crisis. The timing could hardly have been worse. Production of the 365 GT4 BB officially began at the 1973 Paris Motor Show, precisely as the global oil crisis erupted, sending fuel prices soaring and casting doubt on the future of high-performance automobiles. Ferrari's initial conservative production plans, targeting just 25 units, suddenly seemed optimistic. In the first year, only 24 cars emerged from the factory in Maranello, each one meticulously hand-built by coach builder Sergio Scaglietti. The 365 GT4 BB represented a dramatic departure from Ferrari tradition in every respect. Its 4,390 cubic centimeter flat 12 engine sat longitudinally behind the driver, mounted to a 5-speed transaxle with the gearbox ahead of the differential. This configuration created a wheelbase of 2,500 mm and distributed the car's 1,550 kg weight almost perfectly between front and rear axles. Performance was extraordinary. 91 km/h top speed and acceleration from 0 to 100 km/h in just 5.6 seconds, figures that matched or exceeded anything else available in 1973. Visually, Fioravanti's design was revolutionary. The low, wide wedge shape featured retractable pop-up headlights, a distinctive two-tone paint scheme with a black lower section, and aggressive NACA ducts feeding air to the engine. At the rear, 3 round taillights on each side and triple exhaust pipes announced the car's exotic 12-cylinder heritage. Despite the oil crisis, demand gradually increased as wealthy enthusiasts recognized the BB's significance. Production eventually reached 1 car per day, though the 365 GT4 BB remained rare, with only 387 examples built through 1976. This scarcity, combined with its status as the first of the line, would later make it the most valuable BB variant. In 1976, Ferrari introduced the BB512, a significantly revised version that would become the most numerous Berlinetta Boxer variant. The designation reflected the engine's new configuration, 5 litres, 12 cylinders, though at 4,943 cubic centimetres it fell slightly short of a true 5 litres. The capacity increase came from enlarging the bore while reducing the stroke, creating a more over-square engine design. Paradoxically, power output decreased slightly to between 340 and 360 horsepower, depending on market specifications, as Ferrari prioritized broader torque delivery and improved drivability over peak power. The BB512 incorporated numerous mechanical improvements beyond the larger displacement. Most significantly, Ferrari switched from the 365 GT4 BB's wet sump lubrication to a dry sump system, which lowered the engine and improved handling by reducing the center of gravity. The chassis received refinements from Dr. Angelo Belli's team, and the car gained approximately 30 kilograms, reaching 1,580 kilograms. Visual changes distinguished the 512 from its predecessor, a more prominent chin spoiler, revised side air intakes, and, most noticeably, the rear treatment changed from triple to twin taillights and exhaust outlets on each side. Additional NACA ducts improved cooling for the engine and rear brakes. Between 1976 and 1981, Ferrari built 929 examples of the BB512, making it the most common BB variant. The final evolution arrived in 1981 as the BB512i, the I denoting the addition of Bosch K-Jetronic fuel injection. This modification was driven primarily by increasingly stringent emissions regulations worldwide. Power remained at 340 horsepower, and top speed reached 288 km/h. The 512i gained additional weight, reaching 1,630 kilograms, but maintained the performance expected of a Ferrari flagship. production continued until 1984 with 1,007 units built before the Testarossa arrived as successor. Chapter 5: Racing Glory and Lasting Legacy. While the Berlinetta Boxer achieved its primary mission as a road car, Ferrari also recognized its competition potential. Starting in 1978, a racing variant called the 512 BB LM competed at Le Mans and other endurance races throughout the early 1980s. These competition cars, primarily campaigned by privateer teams and Luigi Cinetti's North American racing team, featured extensively modified bodywork, reduced weight, and engines producing over 440 horsepower. Though they never achieved outright victory at Le Mans, the BBLM cars demonstrated the platform's capabilities and maintained Ferrari's presence in sports car racing during a transitional period. The Berlinetta Boxer's commercial success was complicated by one significant obstacle: it was never officially sold in North America. United States EPA emissions regulations and DOT safety standards proved too challenging for Ferrari to address during the BB's production run. However, this prohibition only enhanced the car's mystique. Between 1976 and 1988, a thriving grey market emerged, with enthusiasts and specialized dealers importing BBs and paying substantial sums to modify them for US compliance. This underground trade demonstrated the extraordinary lengths collectors would pursue to own these forbidden Ferraris. When production ended in 1984, the Berlinetta Boxer had accomplished its mission completely. It established Ferrari's credibility in the mid-engine supercar market, proved that the company could successfully abandon its front-engine tradition, and laid the foundation for every subsequent Ferrari flagship. The Testarossa that replaced it used an evolved version of the flat 12 engine, as did the 5112 TR and F5112M that followed, continuing the BB's mechanical legacy until 1996. Today, the Berlinetta Boxer occupies a special place in automotive history. Its combination of groundbreaking engineering, timeless Pininfarina design, relative rarity, and pivotal role in Ferrari's evolution has made it increasingly valuable and celebrated. Despite its global acclaim, the Berlinetta Boxer faced an insurmountable obstacle in the world's largest luxury car market. It was never officially sold in the United States. Stringent EPA emissions regulations and DOT safety standards, particularly the 5-mile-per-hour bumper requirements introduced in the early 1970s, made federal certification economically unfeasible for Ferrari's limited production volumes. Yet American enthusiasts refused to accept this limitation. Between 1976 and 1988, a thriving grey market emerged as determined buyers and specialized dealers found ways to import Berlinetta Boxers through unofficial channels. These cars, purchased in Europe or other markets, underwent expensive modifications to meet US regulations. Catalytic converters were retrofitted, bumpers were modified or replaced, and emissions systems were recalibrated, often at costs exceeding $50,000 per vehicle. Some conversions were executed professionally by established importers like Amerispec and Federal Spec, while others were handled by less scrupulous operators whose work varied dramatically in quality. The grey market phenomenon demonstrated the extraordinary lengths wealthy Americans would go to own a Berlinetta Boxer, paying premiums of 30 to 40% above European retail prices. This parallel market also created complications. Grey market BBs often lacked proper documentation, had questionable conversion quality, and faced ongoing maintenance challenges since Ferrari's official North American dealer network refused to service them. The situation persisted until 1988, when new legislation effectively closed the grey market loophole, requiring imported vehicles to meet the same standards as manufacturer-certified cars. By then, thousands of exotic European cars, including several hundred Berlinetta Boxers, had entered the United States through these unofficial channels, forever altering the American collector car landscape. Chapter 7. Engineering Truth and Marketing Fiction. The Berlinetta Boxer name carried a fundamental technical inaccuracy that Ferrari's engineers recognized from the beginning. A true boxer engine features opposing pistons that move in and out simultaneously, like boxers throwing punches, a configuration used by Porsche and Subaru. Ferrari's Flat 12, however, employed a 180-degree V configuration where opposing pistons shared crankpin journals and moved together rather than in opposition. This meant the engine was technically a 180-degree V12, not a genuine boxer design. Engineers at Maranello understood this distinction perfectly. Some insiders later claimed the BB designation should have stood for bialbero, meaning twin cam in Italian, referring to the engine's dual overhead camshaft design on each cylinder bank. Another persistent story suggests the prototype was nicknamed Brigitte Bardot during development, after the French actress and sex symbol, because engineers found the car's curves as beautiful as the star herself. Whether this nickname influenced the official designation remains unconfirmed, though it reflects the Italian appreciation for aesthetics that permeated every aspect of Ferrari's culture. The Flat 12's actual configuration, while not a true boxer, offered significant advantages for a mid-engine application. Its low height, just 467 mm, allowed designers to position the engine low in the chassis, lowering the center of gravity and improving handling dynamics. The engine's 4,390 cubic centimeter displacement in the 365 GT4 BB produced 380 horsepower at 7,700 RPM, while the later 4,943 cubic centimeter version generated 340 to 360 horsepower, depending on market specifications. 4 triple-choke Weber carburetors fed the early versions, replaced by Bosch K-Jetronic fuel injection in the final 512Y to meet increasingly strict emissions requirements. The Berlinetta Boxer arrived at the perfect cultural moment, becoming the automotive embodiment of 1970s excess and aspiration. Its dramatic wedge-shaped profile, penned by Leonardo Fioravanti at Pininfarina, captured the aggressive, angular aesthetic that defined the decade's supercar design language. The retractable pop-up headlights, a feature that would become synonymous with exotic cars of the era, gave the BB a predatory appearance when raised and a smooth, unbroken nose when lowered. The distinctive two-tone paint scheme, with black lower bodywork contrasting against vibrant upper colors like Rosso Corsa, Giallo, or Blue NART, became instantly recognizable on roads worldwide. In popular culture, the Berlinetta Boxer represented unattainable luxury and performance. While the Lamborghini Countach grabbed more outrageous headlines with its scissor doors and extreme styling, the BB appealed to connoisseurs who valued sophistication alongside spectacle. The car appeared in films, adorned bedroom wall posters, and graced the covers of automotive magazines throughout its production run. Its presence at exclusive events from Monaco to Beverly Hills cemented its status as a symbol of wealth and taste. The BB's cultural impact extended beyond mere aesthetics. It represented Ferrari's willingness to evolve, to embrace new technologies and layouts, despite the founder's initial resistance. For enthusiasts, the Berlinetta Boxer proved that tradition and innovation could coexist, that a company steeped in front-engine heritage could successfully reinvent itself for a new era. The car's mystique was amplified by its exclusivity, with only 2,323 units produced across all variants over 11 years, seeing a Berlinetta Boxer remained a rare and memorable experience. In an era before internet connectivity and smartphone cameras, encountering one in traffic created stories that enthusiasts would recount for years. Chapter 9: Foundation for a New Dynasty. The Berlinetta Boxer's influence extended far beyond its 1973 to 1984 production run, fundamentally reshaping Ferrari's product strategy for decades. When production ended in 1984, the BB didn't simply disappear. It evolved into the Testarossa, a car that refined and expanded upon the flat 12 mid-engine formula. The Testarossa retained the 4,943 cubic centimeter displacement, but featured distinctive side strakes for radiator cooling, a wider body for improved interior space, and updated styling that would define Ferrari's aesthetic through the late 1980s and early 1990s. The flat 12-engine family that began with the BBs, Tipo F102A, continued through multiple iterations. The Testarossa from 1984 to 1991, the 5112TR from 1991 to 1994, and finally the F5112M from 1994 to 1996. This represented a 23-year production run for the basic engine architecture, making it one of Ferrari's longest-serving powerplant designs. Only in 1996 did Ferrari finally abandon the flat 12 configuration, replacing it with a conventional V12 in the 550 Maranello, which ironically returns to a front-engine layout. The BB's influence on Ferrari's broader philosophy proved equally significant. It demonstrated that the company could successfully challenge established conventions, that Enzo Ferrari's initial instincts weren't always correct, and that listening to engineers and responding to market demands could yield extraordinary results. This lesson would serve Ferrari well in subsequent decades as the automotive landscape continued evolving. The mid-engine supercar formula pioneered by the BB became Ferrari's flagship template, leading to the F40, F50, Enzo, LaFerrari, and current SF90 Stradale. Each of these cars traces its conceptual lineage directly back to that first production, 365 GT4 BB, unveiled in Turin in 1971. The BB also influenced Ferrari's approach to limited production and exclusivity, proving that carefully controlled availability could enhance desirability and maintain values. Today, the Ferrari Berlinetta Boxer occupies a revered position in automotive history, celebrated as a pivotal turning point that changed Ferrari forever. The collector market reflects this significance. The average Berlinetta Boxer commands approximately $801,219 with exceptional examples, particularly the rare 365 GT4 BB exceeding $1.4 million. The 365 GT4 BB, with only 387 units produced, represents the holy grail for BB enthusiasts, combining rarity with the purity of the original design and the most powerful specification. Values have appreciated dramatically over the past 2 decades as collectors recognize the BB's historical importance and timeless beauty. Unlike some 1970s exotics that appear dated today, Fioravanti's design has aged gracefully, its clean lines and purposeful stance remaining visually compelling 50 years after its debut. The car's reputation has been enhanced by its relative usability compared to contemporary competitors. The BB offers better visibility, more refined controls, and less intimidating dimensions than the Countach, making it genuinely enjoyable to drive rather than merely to display. Enthusiast clubs dedicated to the Berlinetta Boxer have formed worldwide, organizing events, maintaining technical resources, and preserving the model's history. These organizations help owners navigate the challenges of maintaining 40 to 50-year-old exotic cars, sharing knowledge about parts sourcing, specialist mechanics, and proper restoration techniques. The BB's legacy is also preserved in museums and private collections, where examples are maintained in pristine condition as rolling sculptures representing a crucial chapter in Ferrari's evolution. Perhaps the Berlinetta Boxer's greatest legacy is proving that even legends must adapt to survive. Enzo Ferrari's reluctant acceptance of the mid-engine layout for his flagship 12-cylinder cars ensured the company's relevance and competitiveness for generations to come. The BB stands as a beautiful reminder that progress sometimes requires abandoning cherished traditions, and that the results can exceed even the skeptic's wildest expectations.